Okay, hello guys, welcome back, and thanks for joining me for another session where we're going to go across some useful hints and tips, this time on mixing, and particular how to make your intros a bit spicier. So I revealed a little video on a short this week, and maybe a few have seen it, if not, and a few of you have joined me because of that. Welcome, and look forward to hearing from you, and anything you might want to see on the channel, please do let me know. If you're new, please do, share the love, subscribe, like, all the good stuff if you feel it's worth it. So what I want to show this time is that throughout the early videos, what I've done is built tracks up using, your guitar left, your guitar right, a bass track, some added harmony bits, and then your drums. Okay, so there's a point you think, all right, so what am I going to start doing to build this? I'm going to turn this into something that I want to do something with. So for me, I start with an intro and then a breakdown or something. It's like, okay, where's it going? What's the climax? What do I want the interest or what the listener, or what do I want myself to feel from this? What kind of energy am I looking at getting? So if you listen to this riff from this track from this point here, so I'll start this track as it is, and then we'll go back to this a little bit in a second. So this is the track. Okay, it's not bad. It's quite strong, but because it is quite heavy and quite all in. The track is going to be potentially quite fatiguing, and there won't be much contrast through it. Apart from here, there's some clean sections, but there's lots of stuff going on there. So what I tend to do is, right, okay, how can I'd go into this, and you can leave it as is and just go straight into it and go fine. And when you load a new track on a CD, sometimes it is all in, like Bleed by Meshuggah, for example, is just nails. But just say you wanted to do something like this. Okay, so for me, that already creates a lot more interest in what's going on. And what we've done there, and the point of this video is to show you some automation. So you can see these little dots on the line here are automation points. Okay, so what I am automating is, not that one. What I'm automating is, no, I lied, it was that one. So if we go back to the track, what I'm automating is that particular item there. Okay, so that's that instance of Pro Q, and I've got that on both tracks, and I believe it's that one as well. There we go, right, okay. So we've got two instances of FabFilter Pro Q. So I've got the one that you saw when we pull up just a second in error, which is the EQ I've done for the guitar tracks to make them fit in the mix, but this is the EQ I've done to create this effect. So have a look, have a watch at these particular frequency bands. Okay, so what you can see I've done is sweep from, what's that, 560 hertz, or that one's on 300, up to 22,000 hertz. So basically unfiltered. So we've gone from the start of it being filtered to a point where we want to hear. So on this particular track, it's very muffled and like intriguing. Okay, then it sweeps through. Right, what I'm going to do, just to add some fun, in fact, let me not do that, that'll mess this track up. Let's get rid of that, and let me show you how you do that. Okay, so when you normally start a track, everything starts with automation, normally off, depending on what your template is. So you'll just see your track, so where is this magic? Okay, so what I'm going to do is come over here, when I've got a fresh example of said track. So if I just put them in solo, and they're on there anyway, on their own, there's no other bits going on, so we just listen to them. Okay, for the sake of this demo, you've heard the intro piece there, so I'll keep this nice and short. So what I'm going to do is add a fresh instance of a plugin. So let's add Pro Q in at the start there. So Pro Q, and let's give it a blank slate. And just say we want to start. The other one was about 500, 300 hertz or something like that, wasn't it? Nice and low. The idea is to create the intrigue. So you may want to start really high and filter it back low and take away the detail. And that's probably useful for an outro. So that's probably a healthy tip. As an outro, take it away. And I've heard a few good metal bands do that. So let's listen to what this sounds like here. Not that one alone. Okay, so can't really hear anything. Right. That sort of point, I'm almost interested. So okay, that's where we're at. So I want this to end up somewhere else, and I don't want to have to go in and do it live and record it or whatever. I wouldn't even know how to do that. I haven't got the analog kit to do that, all the crayons to learn. So what I'm going to do is add or remove, okay, some automation. So it's off there. What we need to do is add some automation. So add or remove, and it's going to be the last plugin in the chain there that we just added. So it's an insert, and you can see in the inserts there, and it's that last one there. So on the inserts, we've got our fab filter. It's band 1, which is this band, because there's only one band. And what we're going to do is change the frequency of it. Okay, so you can see there, it's in red. So any previous editing or previous automation will be in whatever particular color. And you saw at the start of the track, it was in yellow. So this new one we just added is in red. So this is the start frequency here. Remember, this is important. You've got to know where your start point is. So that's that. So where do we want to get to? I want to get to the point where it's just not filtered at all. So that says, what was that? So you can do it that way, or you can type it. And let's put the limit of human hearing, 20,000 hertz, 20 kilohertz. Okay, so we've gone from filtered, and that's going to go all the way up to there. So you can up and down it like this. You can change the extent in which it comes through. You can make it a curve. You can make it hyperbolic like that. But let's just leave it as a straight line for the minute. Let's get rid of that. So let's see how that sounds. And I've just realised we are sweeping it between a shorter section. So let's do that. Let's make him kind of straight again. Right, so let's listen to what that sounds like. So you can see already when you click on the end, that's where it's going to go to. But automatically, this great kit we've got nowadays will just go through that. So let's look at that. Okay, so let's quickly do that to the second track. Let's add in an instance of FabFilter Pro Q. So let's put Pro Q in again. We're going to do the same thing, and then we're going to move on to different types of automation. So again, just by default, I have stuff coming up there. So again, this particular track, so we've got it in. Where did we start that one? We started that at about 270 hertz. So again, let's put in something that we like the sound of. Let's go to there, 250, so whatever. It's not hugely important. It's the effect we're after, so it doesn't have to be clinical. So okay, nice and muffled again. And we want it to get to a point of where it sounds open and reveal again. So there's no automation there, currently off. So I'm going to add or remove automation again. Again, on this particular track, on its inserts, the last insert there is going to be Fab Filter there, and it's going to be band 1 again. So we go to band 1, and what we're going to do is make the frequency the one we want to change. Different color, again, previous one, and this is important, that's why I'm labouring it now. You'll get lots of colors on these when you see them all at once, and it'll be kind of hard to realize where you want to get to. So we can just, if we did that, we'd change the band throughout the entirety of the song. So you need to click on your start point, and then you're going to need to create your end point. So that's why we've done that, and let's just line it up with there. So whatever that is, that's not the same, but okay, 20 kilohertz, back up the top again. So right now, if we were to listen to both of them two now, and I'll bring them both on screen. So that one, let's pin that, and then this second one, let's pin that. What you'll see is both of them sweeping through. Okay, easily done. And because we're on a repeat loop, it's going to keep doing that. All right. Okay, so if you're with me now, you've got the rest of this video. You've got this. Okay, so that's quite complex. It might seem like, woo, just watch the video back a couple of times, and you'll notice all you do is change from the view which is off, and then you go back to start there, so you don't see anything normally. And you normally add automation, but because there's one or two already in there. So if I were to do a blank one, for example, I would go to there and I would add or remove, because volume and pan are always there normally. These other ones are, again, I like the word exotic. They're kind of different and naughty. So let's go to this one here, and let's look at changing. Why don't we look at changing the volume? Okay, so this is one particular volume. So the end point, again, this is really important. The end point is where we're at. So because I've already mixed this track, kind of, this is the current volume here, and you'll see that there. That's -4, and that's -4 there. Okay, so we might want it to swell in. So we want it down to a point where it comes into the current volume. So if you do it too far, it'll take ages. Or if you pull it down, you might want to make it really steep, like we did here. So let's just see what that sounds like. So that's already in. We've done that already. So watch this fader, watch this particular one here, and then watch the curve. Okay, so if we add that to the second track, let's go back again. If you're following me, well done. Let's just keep with it. So volume, We want to add that, and we've got a different color again. So again, it's really important that you look at your endpoint, because it can become quite confusing otherwise. So we pull that one down. Where's that? That was -20. So let's mirror that. So we can do it a couple of ways, but let's do it this way so we get exact figures. -20, and we pulled in some sort of a curve there. So it comes in at the half point there. What does that look like? Kind of like that. All right, so now we've got both tracks in stereo, left and right, with an EQ filter. Let's look at the good work we've done. We've got an EQ filter coming in on both tracks, and we've now got volume swells. So we're starting to add some real interest in some stuff that you think, well, you can't just do that in a band in the room. This is some neat stuff. Again, you can drag that out as long as you want. You can take this to take in as many bars as you want. You could have it up here. Let's say you want it to take all that one, or whatever. It's up to you. Okay, so let's undo that so I don't mess the track about too much. And let's look at what else we can do. So maybe you want to pan it as well. Maybe you want to add some panning. So we've got EQ sweeping, we've got the detail coming, we've got the volume. Maybe panning, do you think? Maybe I want to do some pan. Okay, so panning left and right. Okay, so we've got a different color. So because this track already is already in, it won't let me do that, sorry. Because it's already in, pan to the left. We've got guitars left, one there, and right, one there. We're going to start this little section again. And because we've moved on to a different type of automation, the previous line it's in there. You can see it's grayed out, but it is in there. So this track is starting here. This full point here is the end point. Okay, so this is where we're starting. We're at full left. So just say halfway through this, we might want it to sweep and go all the way across to the right. So we'll pull it all the way across to the right. Okay, so you can see there it says right, but also you can see that has now changed to the right. And then just say by the end of this, we want to go all the way back to the end again. So we want a complete stereo swap. Okay, so let's listen to that. So you can keep an eye on this piece here, the left and right fader, and then keep an eye on it here as well. And then keep an eye on the curve. And let's see how that sounds. Let's solo that one. So we've got the sweep going on. Okay, so maybe you want that to happen twice in the same piece. We've got it there, and let's add another one. So you want to get it to cross the stereo field twice, for example. Let's have a listen to that. In fact, one more point because I've doubled it up. There we go. Right, so and that will take us back left, right, all the way across. So look at this fader here now. So we've got volume, EQ, and pan of stereo field. Okay, let's do the same on the other track, and let's move on to something even naughtier. So we've got panning, and we want pan left and right. So neat trick, if you weren't sure, if you want to copy some panning or some automation across, you just do the control and all thing like you do on any Windows platform, and then you just do that. But the reason we don't necessarily want to do that for here is because this one starts on the left. This one actually starts on the right. But if you wanted to copy this sequence of automation again, it can actually copy it with the track itself. So that is to say that it will pull it across with it if you were to copy and paste that. But also, you can just copy and paste the automation yourself. So let's just undo that. And then let's look at mirroring. So we're starting on the right this time. So we'll just make it easy first, going up there. And then we had another one. We came down. And then we went back up. Where were we? So we've done that one. Yep, that kind of thing. All right, so let's pull it all the way back down, and then we've done a full cross of stereo field on both. So again, we've done EQ, we've done volume, and we've got panning. So this is going to be absolutely nuts. It's going to go all over the place. Look at these faders here. Look at the good news down there. Okay, so this might be taking it to the extreme, okay, but this is basically, I want to give you the tools to do this sort of stuff. So on the intro of my song, if we go back to this again, so get rid of all of this, and let's just go back to what I did at the start, not the bypass. It was the ramp, okay, so the ramp of this track I had there, again, that one there. So you can see the colours, and there's other instances of there. So this is my track again with a little ramp. So our volume levels are, that should be at -4 because we tweaked it at the other stage. That's what it is. So volume back to normal. Apologies for that delay, but this is what it's like in real time. You've got to know your way around these doors to sort out these problems, and fixing problems is a big part of doing stuff in the box. Okay, so normal, here we go. There we go. Okay, so we've got over that little hump. Again, it really is key to understand what's going on. You've got to keep your eye on these things. But the intent of this video is to show you the bits rather than to get stuck in that. So, okay, let's move on. So what if you wanted to turn something on or off then? So that's just the amount of something. What if you want to turn something on or off? So the track default automation is at off. So there's nothing there. All you can see is the MIDI roll. And then we go to that. So in Superior Drummer, I have a couple of plugins on the insert level. Again, inserts are here. So just say I wanted to turn the reverb on and off. So we've got the Valhalla plugin there. So let me close that and bring that back up so you can see what it does. So let's bring that plugin up so that stays there. Let's go back to adding some automation, and let's go to Audio, Inserts, Inserts, Valhalla. And what I want to do is change the, let's change the mix first before we turn something on and off then. Okay, so this is the amount of reverb we've got going on. So sometimes in your drums, you might want tons of reverb, sometimes you might want none. So I'll just solo the track because there's no real context for this. I just want to show you what you can do. So this is the drums in solo. Okay, so let's create a little bit of a loop. Okay, so we can do this a couple of ways. You might want it to just go on and off, but I'll show you why we're going to do something else in a second. So just say we wanted the amount of reverb mix. So it's currently, again, this is the starting point. It's mixed there. That's the current start level. And then the end level is to say the extremes of what we want to get it to. So let's watch that plugin, the Valhalla plugin, and let's watch the amount of reverb mix. Where's our mix control? Where are we? Where are you on here? Mix there, sorry, there. So if we watch that one, that will change, okay? Again, like before, we could have that there, and then we could have another point where it goes back and meets where we started it. So we've got a bit of effect there, a bit of a pyramid gun. So if you watch the reverb there, it's going to come in, it's going to go back out again, and you may well want this. Back it comes. Okay, cool, fine. Let's go back, and I just want to remove that. If you don't want automation, you'll end up getting confused like I did a minute ago, and you won't know what's going on. So if we want to turn something on and off then, rather than just fade it in and out, let's go to Inserts, and let's go to the Valhalla one again, and let's see if we can find something that's like bypass. Let me see if we can find that. So there's a couple of things you can do. Oh, there we go, bypass. Okay, so we might want to just bypass the amount of reverb completely. We just don't want to hear it. Okay, so hopefully I've selected the right one there. I think I may have got caught up in that. No, bypass, fine. So let's see at the start what state it's in. So let's go to our Valhalla again. So currently it looks like it's on. So let's have a listen. Right, I can hear that's on. So what I want to do now, we want to bypass it at a certain point. You can see that one there, that changed colour. So when we go before the line here, it then went on. Okay, let's go back round. Fine, okay. If you're following me, we are nearly done. Well done, and well done me for keeping on track. Right, I'm going to add another plugin. Don't ask me why, but let's add a flanger, okay? Let's add this particular instance of flanger. Drums back in the old days used to be flange rated, so let's have a listen. Mental. Don't know when we'd ever want to use that, but let's do that. So same process applies. So inserts, flanger. We want to find the bypass control. You could fade it in and out like we've just been doing, but we don't just say we don't want it on. Hopefully there is a bypass there. There we go. There's a bypass. Okay, so it's going to be on at the minute, I presume. Again, we've got a different colour, and as we start using different ones, we get different colours. So let's back here, and let's bypass it at halfway point, and let's pull up a little line. Okay, so we're going to have non-flange drums and then flange drums. Okay, so let's watch this plugin, and it should go through its state of on and off. It's on, and then it's off. Okay, and it's important to note because this is a bypass control. When it's off, it's not bypassing, so it's on. So when you put it in, it bypasses it. It's the positive state that it goes into. Okay, so that covers everything I wanted to do on this video. Really. So we've gone from volume, automation, panning, EQ, the amount of mix of a reverb, and the state of something on and off. But there is one final piece I want to cover, and I'm not sure how many people actually do this. I know it's a thing that is done, but how many people actually do it, I'm not sure. Let me pick a particular section of my song. So ignore all the bits we've just done. I'll take off the flange and whatnot there. And let me quickly remove the automation. In fact, no, I'll do it after the video. Don't you guys worry. So what I'm going to do is change the tempo of this track. So if we were on normal, you would just see the timeline like this, okay? So if you see me up here, nothing really going on, just the time. But if you click on here in Studio One, I'm not sure what doors you're in, but if Studio One, that's it. If you go there and click Tempo, okay, I can then decide I want to change the tempo. So let's pull that down so we can see that. He says, where are we? Tempo. Okay, there's the tempo. So this little thing is just another piece of automation, just like what we've been doing. So the track comes in and we're at, what are we at? 145 beats per minute there, okay? So the current state, again, this is really important. I keep iterating this throughout the video. Where everything sits is your current state before you added automation. So just say we want to speed up, just say we want to get to about 160. Let's get that back to where it was. What was it? 145. Okay, so we're playing in. Okay, so I'm not sure if you actually noticed that once it's playing through, because it's a gradual sweep. But just say we went to something more extreme, or we did it at a later section. So let's leave the start alone, and let's do this slightly later on, because you might want to do it going faster, or you also might want to slow it down. So we start there, and we come down to some sort of breakdown moment, and you want to turn this tempo down. So you've got to be careful how much you do it, because you end up stretching the audio, and you're making it sound a bit odd sometimes. Just create a point there. So what are we on? Let's get that one down to 120-ish. So we're going to go from 145 and then we're going to slow down. Okay, so I've just thought already, so let's just pull this around. We can move it like that. So we've done that, and then we might want to speed back up again. And it just creates this feeling of chaos. So let's just listen to this little section here. Let's go through that. Let's watch the BPM here. Okay, so last little tip, so we could do it that way, or we could slowly ramp it up, or we could curve it again and do all kinds of naughty stuff. So this is the tempo. One last loop. Right, okay, so that'll do it for another session, and there may be one more before Christmas. But no, I'm enjoying sharing these tips and hints, and hopefully some of you out there are going to make some cool music and have helped you do something useful. It took me a long time to learn some of this basic stuff, but once you know, it's like gold dust, like side chaining and other pieces like that, and how much you send to your effects chains and things. But let's call it there. So we've gone over again. We've done some tempo changes now. We've done some EQ sweeping on a band. We've done bypassing, we've done volume, and we've done panning. Okay, so a good suite of tools. There are 5 different types of automation, so I hope you can use them well. If anyone wants to share anything of one of their videos that they've done and use some of these tools, that'd be really good to see if it's helped you. But I'll leave it there. Have yourselves a great day, a great Christmas, New Year, or whatever you do in the festive season with your family and whatever. If you're like me and you're still working till Christmas, well done everyone that's holding the fort, and do what we need to do. When you are off, have yourselves a damn good break and get some music done. But that'll be it from me, and we'll see you next time.